Massive week this week, massive dot going in my life in weeks, and I put a dot in each week. Massive dot, biggest dot this year since I've owned this thing, which has only been this year. I went to Tasmania. So my dot's full of Tasmania. So much fun. I'm using notes today because I went on a steak tour of Tasmania, which I'm sure people go to Tasmania for lots of other reasons, but it started off last Wednesday at Henderson's, because that's what I do, and we're sitting there and we researched the best steak restaurants in Launceston, because we'd booked the flights at that point, but we were a day out, don't know what we were doing. And we found a restaurant and an accommodation all in one on the river of the Tasman, I think it's called, at Launceston, whatever the river is that goes through Launceston. And we booked it, sitting there, and we went, and it turned out really, really, really cool. So we flew to Launceston Thursday. I'd never been over the ocean in a plane. I've never left mainland Australia, so that was pretty cool to fly and see water and then the land coming. And then we checked into this, it's got 7 rooms. It's a restaurant and 7 rooms on the river in this old mill or silo. I think there's a little silo there and a mill. And so it was just this wonderful place to stay, and it meant that we could just start walking and exploring, and that was really, really cool. So Friday I got to run Launceston along the river a little bit up, found where the local park run was, run a little bit of that, past the uni. It was awesome. And then I come back and there was croissants in a tote bag on the door, and just, that was lovely. And so we left there and we drove to Hobart. We're going to check out Hobart next. And we checked into a place called Macquarie 1 on Constitution Dock there, or Sullivan's Cove. I think it's very similar placed, and just wandered Hobart. And Hobart was fascinating and different again to Launceston. And coming in, we went past the Mona, or the Modern Art Gallery of New and Old or something. And then we found the ferry for it. And as I looked closer at the ferry pattern, I went, so they've got these really cool, everything about Mona is pretty cool. So that was yeah, cool to see. Went to a steak restaurant there called the Stillwater Steak Restaurant. Excellent, lovely. Anyhow, ball and chain steak restaurant in Hobart at Salamanca. Went there for dinner, another great steak. Found the finish line to the Hobart Marathon, which is what inspired the trip in the first place. And this is as close as we got to it. Took the photo and left. Big day Saturday. Got up, ran across the Tasman Bridge, which had the piece fall off in 1975, cars hanging over the edge, because a boat hit it. And I was really always fascinated by that story. So to run across it was really cool, and to see the signs, you know, that because they stop traffic still to this day if there's a big boat coming and stuff like that. So thoroughly enjoyed that experience. Went to Salamanca Markets, bought myself a hat. And then I went to Port Arthur, and I wasn't interested in Port Arthur, and I was taken by it. I think that was the standout of the whole trip, was Port Arthur, and it was the thing I was probably least interested in. And it's still so far away from everything else, and fascinating, and just expanse. It just blew my mind. It really did. So as I left there, we drove past a little arch thing, Tasman Arch. I don't know. It was called something. It's pretty cool. Back to Launceston, because we really loved Launceston. We did. So I'd seen a hotel that looked, well, I didn't know it was a hotel. I saw 4 silos. And then when I was running in the morning, I saw it had Peppers written at the top. So they've converted this old solo into a Peppers and stayed there. So the rooms are in the old curved or circular silos, and that was really cool. So we went to what was another steak restaurant in Launceston, the Black Cow. Lovely. It really was a steak tour we went on. And I was able to, you know, while we walked around the city, see some more of these levee walls from, you know, protecting the city from flooding that I'd started reading about and seeing. So that was pretty cool. Got up the next morning, so we're now on Sunday, ran the Launceston River a bit more. That was pretty cool. We went for a drive to Devonport. So then we got to sort of park at Devonport looking out at the ocean, where the next thing would be Melbourne. So we did the same thing. We hopped on a little ferry at Port Arthur, and they take you out into the main of the harbour, where as you look out of the harbour, the next thing would be, you know, the bottom of the planet. So you really feel like you're at the bottom of the earth. Before it goes, you know, or snow. And then Monday, got my doggy back. Because he'd been staying with other doggies, so he was all, you know, sleepy. And then back to plugging back into normal life with a run this morning with Beth along Sandgate. And that was my massive dot of the week where I got to put lots in it. And so it's week 51 of being 48. With week 51 of being 48. So there's one left. See you next week.